Hello, I am David Stützel from Germany. Welcome to my musical saw masterclass on YouTube. So this will just be the beginning, the very fundamental first steps or things you need to know, kind of first tricks or secrets, because some things are kind of secrets, at least to people that don't know them. Like if you try to copy me playing, you might not see few little things and it won't work. Often people try to copy saw playing and just don't get any note out. So the very first things, the good news is you can actually use a saw from a hardware store. This is from a hardware store. It's not a musical saw that is made for playing. Still, this is kind of a very chosen Stradivari of the hardware store saws, because I checked many saws in many hardware stores for like about 10 years, and so it's good to have a saw approved by someone who can play, or chosen by someone who can play properly and who knows how good they can be and what to look for. But if you don't have such a saw, I'll recommend for the first try to just try any saw that looks like this, a wood cutting saw. Usually if they are for other materials it's most of the time not good, like these ones that are quite long, which would be good, and with bigger teeth for like something like some stone-like stuff. Yutong, I don't know what it's called in English. For example, they have a too strong steel, the thicker material here. So wood cutting, this shape, it's good if they are quite rather long than short, not too short. And it's important that they are wider here and get smaller here at the top. And usually the one with a straight neck, no bend or something in here, are good. And often old ones are not so good. Some people think that, but usually new saws without corrosion are better. And then if you find a saw like that, all the other types, I'll talk about that later, why Japanese saws or whatever are usually not good. Some do produce notes or sounds, but often you can't play a proper melody or you get a very small range. So try to get something like this, and if you have different ones like this, like in a hardware store, better try them out actually once you know how to, because that's actually the main thing you have to do. And for that you need something. If I play, people often don't see that and they try to play and it just doesn't work. That's, for example, if you don't notice that it's a double bend to one way and a little back, and it's a small little bit. Sometimes but you will see it now. There are some notes where I actually don't need the bend to the other direction. But usually for the beginning you don't need to do this very strong. You will notice that it's quite hard to bend the saws. It might look easy when I do it, and actually it is easy, but it takes some time to get there. At the beginning it feels very difficult and taking a lot of strength. So put it between your knees, the grip, the handle, and bend it to one side, and just use your arms and shoulders and back strength and the weight of your arm. That shouldn't be difficult, and it shouldn't take a lot of strength actually. It takes some strength to here to hold it. Then bend it back a little, and the place where I use the bow is kind of between the two bends, in the straight area between. If you do this, it doesn't work. Now I'm too loose here, and this there's no bend here actually, only here. It's only one way. So you can hold it very loose, but then you have to bend, so go further down here until it has a bend. Otherwise it doesn't sound. Try to do this and this, not so much here with the wrist and the fingers, especially no vibrato with the fingers or the wrist, because this will hurt your arm and muscles and whatever the things in here are called. Kind of try to have all this here kind of fixed, like not stiff but almost, like it's still movable, but it has so much tension that I don't do the work here. I just make it as fixed that I can get all the power from here. And of course this needs to be strong enough to give the strength from here to the blade. It's not so important once you know the thing about the S, the double bend, in which direction you bend it. You can actually bend it to the other way, you can hold it in different ways. I could, it does work in many ways. I could play like this as well. I've never practiced that, or I can do many funny things if I do that. Of course, I don't put the teeth here, but the other side I can play actually. Ooh. Many ways. You can also, I had the teeth showing to me and the bow on the front. I can put the teeth to the front, but then I can't use the bow here and I have to put the bow behind. It still works. You can hold the saw like this, like I do, like this, like this. Try different things. Perhaps follow my way first, because then you can copy me, and then try if you find a better one for you. It's different, it depends on many things. So I do it like that because I do the vibrato here, and it's best for me like this. You can also use all this, people use many things here for grips and handles. That's a glass cutter, and it has this thing here that goes in here, and that even works if the saw wouldn't have a hole here, or if the hole is good for it, you can put a screwdriver in and for now I'll talk about all these things later. I would recommend to just play with the hand. For now, first thing, perhaps you don't get a note out till now, and sometimes it's good, or you don't have a bow, not to use a bow, but just to play it like this, or like, because you can concentrate on the bending thing here, with a pencil or a screwdriver or whatever. So bend one way, bend a little back, as little as, just as much of this bend as necessary to make it sound. If you do more, it will sound worse and it will be very exhausting for this hand. And remember to try to do this and this with the strength of the whole body, then it's not hard work. So I will also talk some time about bows, what kind you can use, how to build simple bows. I can make a bow in like 2 minutes, that works for me. I can even play with some other things. I don't have it here now. Yes, for now, let's say if you had a bow, violin, cello, bass, doesn't really matter. Be careful not to use it on a saw that has oil here. Sometimes they have oil against corrosion. Then you have to clean them with something that takes the fat away. It could be for hair washing or washing up liquid. Then make it dry, otherwise it will spoil the blade. And then try to find the right spot, which is between this curve and this. So it's not always the same spot, and it's not a spot, but it's a region. I can make the note in different places, but if I'm too far off, it doesn't work anymore. It's just the note ringing on. Or you get another one. This is not the note I want this. These other notes can be very interesting. Actually, you can get lots of them. You can get multiphonics. You can play thirds. Two voices, but that's kind of no beginner stuff. At first you try to find the spot where the normal note is, and it's between this bend and this bend in the straight area, and you use the bow in a way, it has to be in a right angle, and it's a 3-dimensional right angle. So if the saw is here, it's like this, not like this or like this. If I bend it, I have to go along with the bow to be in a right angle. And it's not only this right angle, it can be a little not right, doesn't matter, but if it's too much, it doesn't work. And it's also this right angle. If I use the bow like this or like this, it won't work. I have to be quite good in the right angle to use it. And then you don't need lots of bow. Don't need this. It's very little. A typical violin players or cello players use of the bow will sound like this, a little bit, which is not really nice. You might think, oh, this saw is not good, it doesn't sound properly. That's the player, not the saw. Because the bow actually, if you touch the saw in this area, that stops the note, and I'm making the note and stopping it at the same time. Some people actually try to double bend the saw because they think it's easier, not from the ends, but you have to do it from the ends because the middle has to vibrate. But some people try to do this and this. It's harder, and you can't play here because if you're touching it here, it can't vibrate and the note's off. So just produce a note and let it ring. Sometimes it can be better to hold the bow wrong. You can actually hold it in many ways, it's not really important. But it's the kind of violin or cello hold. It's not really good because, or it's not easy, because the violin is in a better direction. If you play the saw like this, have I shown that? Could be okay, but here it's really hard to play in a right angle. If you play a high note, this is really not nice for the hand. It's easier another way around. I recommend this. It's similar to the bass players. Just put your hand like this, put the bow in here. Or like this, something like this. Like a viola da gamba works. Then try to find that not nice sound. And then let it ring. If I say just make a sound and let it ring, people often do this. Because I'm not touching the saw very much, I can get the note with almost no. That's possible, but you have to, if you're too fast here, it doesn't help. You have to find the right mixture of pressure and speed of the bow. It's very slow. I don't move the bow much, I use like very small bit. And it's easier to play here than here, not only because you have your hand so far off and this is quite of natural, but also because the control of the bow is better here than there usually. So I use this and just try to play with a little part. I don't press a lot, but if you are too soft it also doesn't work. So find the right mixture. It doesn't feel like pressing and it doesn't feel like spoiling the bow. I can play very long with the bow without destroying the hair. If I teach people and they try, it's usually not good for the bows. But there's a way that is really no problem for. I don't really touch the blade so much. So. I think this is all you need in the beginning. What else could you do wrong? I think I've told you most of the important things for now. So the point where the bow is correct changes. Perhaps you've seen that for a low note it's further down and for a high note it's further up. But you can't change a note by going up and down, but you change a note by bending the saw more. And you just always use the bow between this bend and this bend. And you will see this between is now here. And for this note, it's very high because there's almost nothing of this bend left. For high and low notes, I'll talk about intonation and proper notes, getting the note you want in another film. But just going low and high, one thing for that is, if you make this bend more, the low one, this makes the note higher. If you make it less, it's lower. But you shouldn't make this more at the same time. If you make this more, if I hold this very, very stiff and I go here, then this bend gets more, and this, you won't get far, because this is making it higher, and this is making it lower again, so they fight each other, the two bends. So for low notes, less of this, for more notes, more of this. That's actually where I play with. But at the same time, I also use a little more of this if I'm going down for very low notes, for the lowest notes. And if I'm going up, bending here more and here less. Until there's a place where I don't need to bend at the upper end anymore at all. This is how you get all the range that is there. Otherwise, and also the sound, if I have too much, if I have more of the upper bend than is necessary, look, this note, for example, sounds like this. it's getting hard to bend, and now the sound also gets bad. It's no resonance, lots of work, nothing coming out. There's perhaps one other thing for now. Some people do this, they kind of turn the blade while they actually want to bend it here and there. It depends on where you put your fingers here. If you have the thumb here and the fingers here and you try to bend, then you will also perhaps you can see it in the video that I do now. This will make it much harder to do and will make the sound very bad. So it's just bending to one side and back, and you need to find the right mixture of this bend and this bend, and then just try to get notes, sounds, and low and high, and if you want, try to vibrate somewhere. You can also do it with your feet or knee or leg, or here with the hand. Don't try to do vibrato with your fingers. I'll show you what I mean. Many people try to do that. It's very it's stress for the arm. You might even hurt you if you do it for like an hour or something. It might be a problem. If it's from your arm, it doesn't make cause any problems. It's better. So if you want, put questions or answers underneath, or send me videos back, and perhaps I'll put up more and more special things later. But for now, this is it. Goodbye.